So now we can unisolate, and with our island selected, we'll isolate our selection and we can remove these tabs. So I'm going to close up the material browser and we can just select all of this, and then holding Alt, we can remove anything we don't want to delete from the selection. I'm going to press P to go to the perspective view, and I'm using Alt and middle mouse button to move around. And if we press F3, we can see our sync and taps in here. So I'm just going to hit delete, and now we have deleted that. All right, so let's clean up this mesh a little bit, and we can turn on F4 to see the wireframe, and I'm going to select the border, and in here there is a border we can select. So this just means the edge of the mesh, and I'm going to hold Control and select the polygon, and you can see that's now selected all the polygons around the edge. And using the grow option, we can actually grow this and shrink it. So these are the polygons we want to delete, so we'll hit delete, and then we can select these two edges and we'll just bridge that gap. And now we can see that the texture on our material is distorted, so we can fix that using a UVW map. So if we select this element and apply a UVW map, let's unisolate everything, select this sync unit and isolate it. I'm going to now change this back to top view using T on the keyboard, and let's maximize the viewport, and I'm going to zoom out using the middle mouse button and pan again, pressing the middle mouse button. So we can see the texture on here is looking fine. So if we select this object, and then usually I'd like to use real world map on everything, but as this is coming from Cosmos, we're going to have to eyeball it. So let's turn off real world mapping, and then we can see our texture on here. We're going to want to change that to box. And to start with, let's just put 100 centimeters in each of these. So the texture that we have on is now 100 by 100 centimeters wide. And when I compare it to this, it actually looks too big. So let's put in 50 centimeters. And that looks about right. So I'm going to just right click and collapse all. And then we can see our texture is now the same as the sync unit. So let's minimize that view again, and finally let's bring in a hob for our island. So I'm just going to type in hob here, and again I've already downloaded this, but you can hit download and hit import to bring that in. And let's position this, so let's line that up with the sync. And I'll turn on snaps using S, and let's snap that to the top of our countertop. So unisolate everything, and our kitchen's coming together really well. So let's get a quick render out so we can keep track of our progress through this project. And as these are quick snapshots, let's just use an interactive render for now. So I'm going to hit interactive render from the toolbar. Be aware that the interactive render resizes to the size of the window. So I'm just going to make that full screen, and let's just let that render until most of the noise is gone. Fasting noise is on by default, and that's why it might look a little bit blurry, but just give this a little bit of time and it will start to clean up. So that'll be fine for a work in progress shot. So I'm going to hit save, and let's save this as kitchen progress.jpg and hit enter, and that's our render saved. And something else while we're talking about saving is I like to save at multiple stages through the project. So if we go to save as, and let's say we call this kitchen and we'll call it 001, and we hit save, I'd recommend saving at the end of each lecture. So then you can just go file, save as, and if you hit this plus icon, it's going to save as a +1. So if I go to save as again, you'll notice that there's 1 and then +1. So at the end of each lecture, just get in the habit of going to file, save as, and hitting this plus icon. And the reason I like to save multiple versions is it's really handy. It minimizes the risk of a file getting corrupted and you're just being reliant on one file. And if you make a mistake or something, you can always bounce back.